Welcome to Scenario 1. Before continuing this video, I request you to watch my introductory video. If you already watched it, let's continue with this scenario. In this first scenario, we'll try to cover very basic example. This scenario is called Order Email Confirmation Scenario. It is usually implemented with OTC system. OTC stands for Order to Cash. In the next slide, I will present you the business requirement. Please pause the video and read the business requirement clearly. Try to understand what is the business requirement, what is the business problem, and what is the rationale. Rationale is nothing but what is the benefit if you implement this scenario to fix this business problem. So try to spend time to understand the business requirement. So let me read out the business requirement. In an e-commerce business, there is a need to send order confirmation emails to the customers after they place an order. The integration scenario involves integrating the e-commerce platform with company's email system to automatically generate and send order confirmation emails to customers. This email should also include order tracking number. Please note that email should only be sent only when the customer opted for email notifications. What is the rationale? What is the benefit of this implementation? By implementing this integration scenario, the e-commerce business can automate the process of sending order confirmation emails to customers, ensuring a smooth order to cash process and providing a better customer experience. Try to spend as much time as you wish to understand the business requirement clearly. Once you understand the business requirement, move on with the video. In this video, I'll try to cover following CPI topics. We'll try to design, develop, test and deploy an integration flow in SAP CPI. We'll try to use palette functions like sender and receiver participant, content modifier, router, and start and event message steps. We will try to use adapters like SOAP and email. Before you start working with any integration flow, you need to do some homework. Take a white sheet of paper and try to design the requirement on the paper first. So try to draw what is the sender system, what is the receiver system, what is CPI doing here, what kind of integration flow that you think we need for this requirement. Try to design on the paper just like an algorithm of a program. So once you design on the paper, then you start implementing on SAP CPI. This process helps you understand the requirement more clearly and get you a visualization what kind of integrations we are talking about. So let's draw it on the paper. In this scenario, we are talking about a sender which is an e-commerce system. On the receiver side, we have an email server of the customer. In between, we have SAP CPI as a middleware. As I mentioned in the initial video, you need to remember BDAT, B-D-A-T. B stands for business requirement, so which we already covered and you already understood what is the business requirement here. In the next slide, we talk about D, which stands for data model. Let's now try to understand what is that sender format. If you look at the XML, this is the sender format of the e-commerce system. You can see it has something called order details. In the order details segment, we have some elements like order number, order status, customer email, customer name, email notification flag, order tracking number. This is the block of information that e-commerce system is sending to SAP CPI. Now SAP CPI has to take this message and translate this message into an email. In the next slide, I will show you what is the expected email format to the customers. If you can see, this is the email format the customers are expecting. It should have a subject, it should have the customer name and order number, and finally it should have order tracking number. In this demonstration, we need some tools like SAP CPI, that is a must. You need to have access to SAP BTP Cockpit. You also need SOAP UI, which is for simulating the sender system here. And you need a valid email account. It can be Gmail or Yahoo. Finally, I need your undistracted mind to focus on this implementation. Let's now talk about the implementation steps. Whenever you implement a CPI integration, you can split this implementation into 3 parts. The first one is sender-side configuration. The second one is the receiver-side configuration. The third one is the actual integration flow implementation. So in this demonstration, we will start with sender-side configuration. We will continue with the receiver-side configuration. We will then do actual integration flow development. Then we'll try to deploy and download the WSDL file from CPI. And then we'll do the sender-side preparation for sending the message to CPI. Then I will show you how you can check the logs in SAP CPI. Then we can check and confirm email notification. Finally, I will conclude the demonstration by explaining the difference between sync and async communication of SOAP adapter. For this demonstration, you need following artifacts: a source XML, a sample email format, and a sample XML message for SOAP UI testing. Let's now jump into our first real-time scenario, order confirmation email. For this demo, you need some material and artifacts. I have uploaded all the content to GitHub and there's a link in the description. Please download all the material for this demo and get them ready. Let's begin. Log into SAP CPI. Now go to integrations. Let's now first create a package. So create package and give it a name and give it a description. You can also add some version and vendor details, which are optional. And now click on save. I will now create artifacts. So for that, let's go to artifacts tab. Now here we can add an artifact. Click on add. So we'll be adding integration flow. Let's add integration flow here. So give a name to integration flow. So type in the name and some description as well. Now click OK. Click OK. Now you see there's an artifact here. Double click the artifact. If you double click it, it will open the integration flow editor. So this is where you develop the integration flow. So as you can see, we have a sender participant. Now let's give it a name. So in scenario 1, we have a sender system called e-commerce. So I just want to rename the sender participant as e-commerce application. So give it as e-commerce. We need to repeat the same thing for the receiver participant as well. So select the receiver, and in this case we have email as a recipient. So we'll say email server for now. Email server. Okay, so we have the names for both sender and receiver participant. I will now show you how you can do the sender configuration, which is SOAP here. So we have a sender participant called e-commerce, receiver called email server. In between we have integration process. This is where the magic happens. We have a send and start and end messages here. Okay, let's select the sender participant. Now drag and drop a connection from sender to the integration process. Now you can see all the list of sender adapters available. So now we select SOAP there, and the protocol should be SOAP 1.x. And now below you can see all the properties for the SOAP adapter. So you can see the protocol, message protocol, and adapter type. So, and now click on the connection tab. Now I'll give it address. Basically this is the endpoint for the sender to send a message to CPI. So I'm going to name it as send order status here. Then I'm going to keep the rest of the parameters as default. Here the service definition is manual. You can also have a WSDL, so you can compose your own WSDL and use it. And authorization is a user role, which is standard here. So standard role is ESB messaging.extend, and just keep it as it is. And message exchange pattern is either we have reply, request reply or one way. So for now I use asynchronous, which is request reply. So and address that. So send order status here. So these are the properties I'm going to set in the connections tab. Okay, so rest stays as it is. use role there. Okay, take your time, do it slowly. So set all the parameters in your demo. Now go to AWS security, nothing to be changed, and the conditions, nothing to be changed for now. So now I have done the sender. I'll move on to the receiver side configuration, which is email. So in this case, the sender is integration process and the receiver is email server here. So now I'll draw a connection between send the end message to the receiver. When you do that, it will open up all the adapters. Now you need to select the right adapter, which is mail in our case here. So now the same thing here, the default protocol is SMTP and adapter type is mail. So now go to the connections. In this connections tab, we provide all the connection details for the email server. In this example, I'm going to use Gmail as my recipient email server. So I'm giving all the Gmail details here. So gmail.com 465 port and SMTPS as a protocol. And then credential name is some security protocol that I created already. So give it a name. So I just copy pasted the security material here. So you need to create a security material. For that, I already created a short video. Pause here, watch that video and see how you can create a security material. Copy that name and paste it here. So you need to do this. Okay, so just copy paste the security material name here for your Gmail email account. Okay, so now I'm done with the connection details. Now go to the processing tab. Here in the processing tab, I need to mention all the details that are necessary for sending an email to the receiver. For example, from address, to address, carbon copies, BCC, subject and mail body and all the details. For now, in the from field, you enter your own email address there. Okay, your own Gmail or Yahoo, whatever it is. And then you need to enter a to address, but in our case the to address is dynamic. It should be coming from the inbound payload. So here what I've done is I use something called variable substitution. So I created some variables in the header, so I'm using them as a variables here. So just put dollar open brace header dot the field name and close brace. So they are the variables I'll be using in this demo. So just type in as I mentioned here. So this is the email format I want. So I just use some external tool to format my content. So I just copy paste that XML content from that tool to this mail body. Now what I would be doing is I'll be replacing all the values by using this variable substitution. So copy this variable, then dear customer and name, the name should be there. So remove that and paste the variable. So instead of customer email, I need to get the customer name because this is actually the field name of the inbound message. So just put it there, customer name. Then I'll be doing the same thing for the customer order and as well as the tracking number. Okay, so now I'll be replacing order number. So same copy and paste. And now change the field name. So it is order number. So this is the input field. In this is how the sender system is sending the message to me to CPI. Again, the auto tracking number I need to change. So this is the auto tracking number and replace that space with my variable here again. So copy that, copy this one, and then paste it here again. That's good. Now I need to replace the field name. We need a tracking number, not order. So copy the order tracking number and then paste it there. Perfect. This is good. So now we have the mail body, which is actually the mail content. And now I need to change the type. Basically, this is a HTML type, right? So I need to mention that to the adapter. It is an HTML message. You can do that by using this body mime type. So select text/HTML. That's good. So I'm coding his UTF-8. I'm not going to change it. And attachments. No, we are not using any attachments here. It's a simple interface. So just leave it as it is. Now we are done with the processing tab. And we added all the necessary attributes for mail adapter. Now security side, no changes. Now save. So we're done with the receiver configuration. Now I'll be going to the integration flow development, which is the integration process. This is where the magic happens in integration. So I'm going to drag and drop a content modifier into the integration process. So you see, when you drag and drop, it automatically tries to connect. Then I'm going to rename it. Basically, the job of this content modifier is extract values from the payload. Whatever is the values from the payload, we have to extract it. So I'm going to rename it. So select again. Okay, here you can see you can actually manipulate 3 different types of properties: header, extends property, and message body. But in our case, we'll be only handling message header. So select that. Now I'll be adding some variables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some variables. Basically, these variables will hold the values of the incoming payload message values. So copy the field names. Just want to keep it as 1 to 1. So just keep the same header values here. So I'm going to need customer name, order number, customer email. So if you want to add, click on add. So I need also order tracking number. So copy paste here, and then I also need email notification flag. I will tell you why we need this. So let's copy paste it for now. So now we added these 5 header parameters. So source type is XPath. We use XPath because we are trying to extract some specific element from the input payload, input XML. So that's why I used source type as Xtype. So just keep it as it is for all the properties here. And then source value is the same value that is coming in the payload, because I just want to have 1 to 1. So I just kept the same name as in the input payload value. So copy paste the same thing here to make it simple. Don't forget about the slash, because slash is the level at which you need to read the value from. So slash slash slash. Now select the source type XPath for all of the header values. Now that data type is again, to keep it simple, I'm going to use string type, which is java.lang.string. So you can use different types as well, but for this demo I'm going to use string type for all the variables. So let's copy paste. So I added all the 5 variables that I need for my message processing. So you can also delete or add. So as I showed you in the picture here, so these are the values that are stored in SAP CPI will be replaced in the receiver adapter. This is called variable substitution on the receiver side. Okay. Now, so after you add all these variables here, you can also add some more. You can also, if you don't want this, select and delete again. So this is how you add and delete. Okay, that's good. Now click on save. So we're not going to work with extends property and message body, so leave it as it is for now. What I'm going to do now is, for example, let's go back to the requirement quickly. You see in the requirement there is a specific mention of user condition. So if user opts for email, then only you need to send. So we need to check a condition here, so that the condition will be evaluated by using the variable email notification flag that I just added before. Now I'm gonna do a route step, add a palette function called route here, drag and drop again. So this route palette function is used to derive a condition if and else. So as a if there are 2 outbound connections, right? If true, else there are 2 connections. Similarly for route, I also will I'll be creating 2 output connections. One is for success, which is true case. The other route is for false. Okay, so I'm going to add a new route condition, the second one, which is end message again. So now just drag and drop and properly align it. So we have end 1 and end 2. Okay, so I'm gonna rename this end step as no notification end. Yeah, so we don't need any notification to this route. And the processing is default route. Yeah, whenever you use a route, when you have multiple outbound connections, you always need to select one default route. You need that default route because if all the conditions are false, then it goes to the default route. So you need to remember this. This is default route is mandatory when you have multiple outbound conditions. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a condition to the route 1. That is the actual route where we need to send an email to the recipient. So select that route palette function again. Sorry, I'm having a bit of difficulties here for selection. Yes, you can see here two routes are there, order 1 and order 2. And order is also very important. This is the order with which the conditions are being evaluated. So don't forget about the order. So now rename the route 1 as well. Send email. Okay, this is the email route. So in this case, I'm going to add a condition, and then condition is header dot email notification flag equal to true. So that is a condition added. So now click on the route again. So you see there are two routing conditions here. One is default, one is the true condition. Okay, if it is true, the email will be sent. Okay, perfect. Send email, no email. There are two routes here. Okay, perfect. Now what I'm going to do is, so finally this integration flow is complete. Now let's save it, and then we're going to deploy and do the next test. We're going to test again. Now we're going to deploy. So this is the interface now. So this is the integration flow. We have sender, receiver. In between we have integration process. So we have done the implementation now. So you can see the status of the deployment is not deployed, which is still not deployed yet, and not deployed. And you can see problems. There are no problems at the moment. And now save it. So it's saved now, and I'm going to show you how to deploy and test it further. Okay, so go back and deploy, and now click on yes. As soon as you click on this deploy function, it will actually in the background it tries to deploy it to the tenant. Then you can see the status as deployed, and you see the timestamp as well, and the runtime status is started. So basically it is ready for action. Now let's go back to the CPI monitoring. Click on monitoring here, and then integrations. Now you go to message integration content. So you can see all the started processes there. Click on this is started tile, and you can see the first integration flow there. It is now deployed, and it has actually created an endpoint for sender to send a message to, and it also provides some WSDL options. Now you can download. Click on this download button to download the WSDL. You need this for the testing actually. So download the file, and you will use this file in the SOAP UI for testing. Okay, let's now move on to SOAP UI. And if you don't have the SOAP UI tool, please download from the internet and then start testing it. So I'll show you how to test it now. So this is the SOAP UI tool, and I'm using 5.70 version. So I'm going to create a new project now. Right click on the projects, new SOAP UI project, give it a name. So you can enter any name there. Click on the browse, and now you need to select the file that you just downloaded. Okay, so click on that and click OK. So you see it actually imported the WSDL file from the local drive, and now you can see there are two nodes. For now you can use service SOAP binding there. Double click on the request, and here you can see we have a endpoint. Basically this is where the message will be posted on top, and you can see on the left hand box where you actually paste the payload that you want to send it to CPI. On the right hand side box you will see the response. When you click on the submit button, below you see some request properties. This is actually important for you, because when you are trying to send a message from SOAP UI to SAP CPI, you need service key and password. So I already created a video. Please watch that video. In that video you can create service key in SAP BTP Cockpit. First create that, then use that service key and service password in SOAP UI. Okay, so you need this. So now you enter the username, which is a service key there, and now in the password you need to enter the service key password. So this is a must. This is a prerequisite to communicate with SAP CPI. So after you added those user credentials, so now move on to the SOAP UI part. So you can see there is an endpoint here, and at the end you see send order status. So this is the address, if you remember, that we have provided in the sender SOAP adapter. If you go back to the connection, you can see in the address field send order status. It is the same endpoint that automatically gets generated in the backend. Okay, so that is the endpoint where the message gets posted. Now click on submit button, and now you can see there we received a status 200 as a response back from SAP CPI. The 200 is good, which means the message has been reached to SAP CPI. Let's go to the monitoring aspect again. We will see the message monitoring. Click back on the WoW view, and you see here message processing there. Click on the all integration flows. Click on all there. You see there is a message in the status of completed, and you can see all the parameters for the message there. So what is the message ID, correlation ID, sender side, and below you can see properties like the name of the scenario and ID of the integration flow and type of the artifact and package and so on. All the details you can see here. And from here you can also navigate to different places. Basically you can go to additional properties that you get in Apache Camel runtime. So these are the additional parameters, the runtime properties you can see in the message log. Sometimes they are helpful for troubleshooting. Let's go back again, click on the message again. You see here so I have set the status, the flag as true. This is good, and this is the email ID that I want to receive in email to. And you see here, from here you can also go to different navigation. For example, you can go to the actually deployed artifact. You can actually see the integration flow that is being used behind this message processing. So click on this. It actually opens the integration flow that you have used for this message processing. Let's go back to the message processing. Let me check my email account. Basically I have not received any email yet. Let me see why. That's good, we have not received any email. Then we can learn something more. Yeah, now you see basically there is a small thing that you need to notice. In the message payload we have body, then order details and the elements. Basically there are two levels, but in the message header we only mentioned read it from one level, which is wrong. So we need to add two levels, means 2 slashes. So now add 2 slashes there. Basically it means that the XPath we use, basically it goes to the 2 levels down in the XML message. So you need to add the 2 slashes there. Now click on save again. Let's see if it works. Click on save, and now click on deploy. So whenever you make a change you have to deploy, don't forget that. Deploy that again. Now let's go back. Let's now change an email, maybe, for example. No, let's keep it as it is. Click on submit again. Okay, this time we got 500 error, which is internal server error. In a way it's good, but in a way it's bad. But for now you can ignore this, I will tell you. Let me go back to my email. I think I got an email now. So if you open the email, you can see the content there. You see dear customer name and order name, and that is a customer name I got, or order name, but I don't see the tracking number. Why? Let's again go back to the payload. SOAP UI. I see. You see in the payload we don't have any field called tracking number. So basically we need to add that field. If there is no input, there is no output, right? So now let me add a field like order tracking number. Copy this, and now I will add it as a node element, XML element there. Now it's good. Now click on the submit again. This is good. Now it's fine. Let me go back to my email. Let me refresh again. Now I got another email. That's good. Now I got the tracking number, that's good. So now we have all the fields: customer name, order number, and tracking number. This is good, which means it is actually working end to end. But I will still want to show you something. For example, if you go back to the integration flow editor, so now click on the SOAP adapter. Now in the SOAP adapter, in the connection, remember we mentioned as request reply, but now I want to make it as one way, which is asynchronous. So click on save and deploy. Basically it will just send a message from SOAP UI to SAP CPI without expecting a response. So that is the meaning of one way. It's asynchronous communication. Click on this. Now this is good. Let me change the order number for a difference. So 678. That's good. Click on this submit button again. I hope there is no 500 now. Yes, now you see 202 accepted. This is good. Basically the error is gone. Now if you go back the email account, now I see I have received the email, which is good. So now in this scenario we have seen an e-commerce system sending a message to CPI in XML format. Then CPI is actually processing the message. Then it is sending a message to an email server by using an email adapter. So now we have end-to-end scenario completed successfully. Now I have a challenge for you. In this scenario there is a small bug that I actually introduced intentionally, and I want you to find the bug. If you found the bug, please let me know that bug details in the comment section. Congratulations for completing your first real-time scenario. I'm so glad that you could spend 45 minutes with me to understand and learn real-time SAP scenario. Thank you for staying with me. That is the end of scenario 1. I hope you managed to complete all the steps in scenario 1. If you have any challenges, don't worry. If you are new to SAP CPI, I know it will be challenging for you. But don't give up. Try to complete all the steps and finish the scenario end to end. If you have any challenges following the steps, please let me know in the comment section. If you like the video, if you learned something in this real-time scenario, consider giving a like, subscribe to my channel, and share the video with your friends. With that, I will now conclude scenario 1. Let's now move on to the scenario 2. See you there.